Hello, everybody, and welcome back. All right, so let's do this. Frank, most recently, Ollie, most recently, you had seen the Asari and the Krogan. What are you gonna do with your What are you gonna do with it?
Bomb everyone! Tell them that these exact people are probably Eclipse and are following Steve after you decided to take him home with you. Winnie, like tag.
At this point, Cal's like, "What the fuck?"
He was drunk.
Yeah, no.
He was
Like,
sad.
does Krax get that message as well, or?
All of you do.
Krax
the
is just
group
gonna
chat.
turn to Winnie and just be like, ask if they want to come and seven to have Koibi? What is the human strength?
I hope you guys are having a good night.
Can you just ask them what it's called? Is it Koibi?
We have your friend, not like in like a creepy kidnapping way, but like in a
Cal
like,
just
he's
being
drunk, he
like,
needs a place to
"What
sleep way.
did you
If you
know?"
guys want, if you guys want to
Period.
come over and chat, here's where we are. I'll give-
So you say that, and as you're kind of like saying this, Aaron, and kind of like more or less doing your invitation to them, the Krogan keeps walking forward and actually kind of walk straight towards the two of you with the guy over Krogan's shoulder, over Krax's shoulder. And Krax, you can quickly see, while his walk is very threatening, it would certainly intimidate most of the people.
It's not Krogan attack mode.
Yeah, he's clearly just walking up to you. However, what Ollie sees is all of a sudden the Huntress, who's kind of like sneaking along and checking things out, and then like step back into the shadow. All of a sudden, when she hears this, she like stops and like whips around, pulling out a pistol, and starts like looking around and eyeing out areas where whoever it was that spotted them is, because clearly it wasn't the two of them that noticed. So when that happens, could you do me a favor, Ollie, and roll me your stealth check? And this is either going to be
I did last time.
stealth dexterity to physically hide yourself, or stealth charisma to try to blend into a crowd.
Take a wild guess as to one I have better modifiers.
There's
in.
different
Do it all day.
tactics, different DCs.
I know.
So this is charisma, correct? So you go walking up to a group of people, and it's a group of different people. You go walking up to them, and literally one of them is kind of like telling a joke, and they're finishing it, and you're like, I've heard that one before. It's one of my favorites. And like you kind of interject yourself into the conversation. Now you have to do me a favor to blend in with them, not only just kind of like seem like you're blending in.
That's a very weird choice of action Entourage took, but I will.
Well, what I'm trying to do, walk up to somebody, grab them by the back of the neck, and shove her tongue in their
been
throat.
in a crowd. She wouldn't have been anywhere where she would have still had the same sort of stealth as before.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
what do I have to do to play along?
But what I'm saying is, okay, let me take a step back. You were walking along with the crowd, but you weren't a part of the crowd
I get
before.
it. What do I have to do?
Talk charisma.
Okay. She's very antisocial, you realize.
Yes, but she's also using charisma to hide. So yeah,
know.
that's a social choice. So anyways, with your talk charisma check and you're trying to engage them in conversation, it's actually not awkward in the least bit. They are perfectly fine to engage in conversation with you. No problem whatsoever.
I guess I don't look like a huntress right now as well.
So it's one of those things where as you're kind of standing there and you engage in conversation with them, you toss a sideways glance over there and you notice that she's not noticing you. She's clearly kind of searching around trying to find out where it is that this person is that had spotted her. It doesn't happen, and she seems upset but continues trying to stealth her way along, not noticed. So let's go back over to the other ones because that takes a little period of time.
I'd probably calm them that I
But
will
that
be
that
late.
takes a period, so I'm going to go to them
Yeah.
first. So the Krogan comes walking up to both Winnie and Krax. Krax with the Steve over his shoulder, and he walks up to him, and he's like, "Why are you taking him to the ship? Why are you taking him to the ship?"
He just like looks over at Winnie, looks at the back of his ankle.
He's very drunk.
Humans can't hold their liquor like we can.
Humans can't
And
hold
he's, like,
anything
very
we
disappointed.
can.
But it's a human vessel, and I think we still have some of that drink that they like.
Koibi?
Is it Koibi?
Convefi? Convive?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's a stupid name.
Yeah.
But we have some of it, and I think it'll make him better.
He kind of like looks at you guys for a second, like kind of like judging it, then looks back
You can come
over
with
his
us
shoulder.
if you want.
Yeah,
It's
like
a little crowded.
Like he's like thinking of going back the other way. And then he just shrugs and he's like, and he looks at Cracks. He's like, got food?
I forgot. I got distracted by dog for a second. Sorry.
I see that snout.
God, I don't know any like Krogan food.
That's
so
fine.
He just
got
says,
food.
"Yeah, I got some stereotypical mac and cheese for Krogans."
Okay. Krogan mac and cheese.
Irradiated Kellogg's.
Oh God. What was got the I was gonna try to do the blue box blues, but I got nothing. So anyways, so he's like, good enough. And he'll walk with you guys without really saying anything. Just kinda like, so now you have Winnie walking along to Krogan being like,
Winnie will introduce herself and be like, I'm Winnie Jen. Nice to meet you.
Probably a good idea to mention that you're a friend of Steve.
He already knows that. That was already implied.
Yeah,
Implicit
that's
in
part
the
of the giant story
Yeah.
she told.
So anyways, she's like, it's like, I'm Winnie Jen. He looks down at you and he says, and oof.
Pleased to meet you, Oof.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Imagine it's like
He
the
looks
end
at
of the
her-
conversation.
He looks at her
He gets
blank
it.
stare. He looks at her blank stare and then follows.
Who knows
Yeah,
what
cracks.
face she's making under the mask?
Yeah, and you guys make your way back to the ship. So now, Ollie, you are able to chime. Oh, unless Cattle does anything. Nope. Okay, so Ollie, you're able to chime in and tell them what you were about to witness.
I was just going to tell them that I'm going to be late.
Okay.
I'm not going to leave this conversation route. I'm probably invested in it now.
Yep.
Or whatever we're talking about, I'm in.
So
Yeah, you're
So you
blended in
can't
now.
just,
You
like-
can't just blow
It
them
would
off.
also be very suspicious if I just drifted in and left very quickly as well. So.
Yeah. So eventually the Asari starts moving forward again, but this time she's trailing way back. She can't even see them, so clearly she's just kind of like watching their like at least the Krogans ping on her Omnitool. Like once again, you can't see the hollow display, but you can see her interacting with it. You're able to stealth behind her, once again trying to be as discreet as possible, and she doesn't seem to notice you, which is wonderful. The rest of you guys are able to get back to the ship, including Cattle as well. Everybody's able to get back to the ship, where you have him kind of like slumped into the chair, and you're brewing a pot of coffee. And you get that kind of going. The two Krogan are able to kind of have a conversation wherein he sees like the big weapon hanging from the ceiling in the airlock area, and he looks at it. And he's like impressed that you guys have this thing halfway installed, and he's actually starts having conversation about like the best ways to have like bullets loaded to it and stuff like that, and kind of like going over configurations of the thing, and then gets into stories of and then the one time I shot the guy and his head just exploded everywhere, and it was great because it blinded the guy next to him, and he turned and he started firing his gun and killed his own friends. Like I was like, friendly fire is the best.
Because Cracks like records everything. He has like he instantly brings up the video of him killing all those humans on the other planet.
Nice.
Oh yeah, let's show them more stuff.
Yeah. So you're showing that with the hand of
smart
the
people
grenade.
are gone. The idiots run the ship.
Yep.
So
Give away all our secrets.
the handing of the grenade and everything, and he's just watching that, and he's just like, it's one of those things where he's just completely flabbergasted with like the fact that you did that and got away with it and whatnot, and you earned respect. You have respect points with him. Like talk checks with him will be with a +2. Like you literally handed somebody a grenade and was like, oh, here's a gift. And then we're trying to be like, you weren't supposed to make it blow up. Like he thought like it was so funny. So anyways,
Krogan practical jokes.
Yeah.
so Winnie's in the other room getting Steve some coffee. He's kind of starting to come to his Cattle comes walking in and sees the two of the Krogans having conversation in Kroganese or Kroganian, whatever they speak, which of course Cattle understands. He's just shaking his head like, more secrets. And then
And
goes
Steve's
over to
on
see Winnie.
someone's
He walks
bed,
out.
I imagine.
What was that?
Steve's on someone's bed.
Pistol.
We don't have like
Oh,
extra room.
I was saying like he kind of like slumped in the chair in the
Oh, okay.
dining. Yeah, and he's having his
I
coffee
would
now, kind of coming
argue
too.
that the Krogan language is probably called Krogan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Yeah. So, all right. So you go walking in, Cattle, to Steve coming to and having like his second sip of coffee.
I just look at the two Krogans. I debate walking out again.
Yeah.
One is bad enough, but no, it's fine. I'll stay.
Hi,
And I'll
Cattle.
just...
Hi,
Greetings.
G-Ray.
I'll
This is
Ray
Steve.
focus a little bit behind.
And I've
This
become very
is And what was the Krogan's name again?
Oof.
Oof. Or oof.
Like you got hit in the
Okay.
stomach and you're like, oof.
Penny's
Like,
trying to.
my
tell
dog
us
just
what
went
it
woof.
is.
I think Bratwurst here's Penny.
Yeah, no, Pistol. Look at you can see his nose.
Ah.
Near the. You can hear your dog barking.
I told you today would be a
Snout,
shit show.
like-
All right, so go ahead.
I courteously welcome them.
Yeah. Ugh. Ooh, that's Carol. Carol, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Sure, I know he's drunk. So how do you know Winnie?
What?
Hold
oh,
on
I
2
thought Scott
seconds.
first. I think his dog's going crazy, so technical difficulty.
I think someone's
Down
outside
out
is the
there.
problem. Like I just don't know.
I mean, I don't know if you guys could see it, but on our end, we just got a view of Scott's
Sorry,
ass.
middle of the day,
Yeah.
my wife just showed up. That's just why the dog was barking. So I was like, I
So-
hear somebody in my house. Why do I hear somebody in my house? This is a little
For anybody
creepy.
wondering, no, Scott's not wearing any pants right now.
Jeans. I only wear jeans. I don't do sweatpants or any of those other chick clothes. Jeans and slacks. That's it. All right. So, anyways, shorts in the summertime. You know. All right. Moving on. Sorry, there was a distraction. Where were we? So somebody
was
in my
basically
house.
making small
so
talk with
obviously I
Steve
was
at
like,
this point.
I was like, okay, I got a dagger right there. Who the hell's in my house? Like, what's going on?
He asked Steve, how do you know Winnie?
Oh, how do you know Winnie? Oh, we met before, and then the eclipse. Winnie, before
Yeah,
we met,
I fixed that thing.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. My brother, he had that gun that he couldn't get fixed, and you fixed it for him. He
I
died.
really like that gun.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't help. But that was his fault, not yours. But yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, was it the Citadel? I think it was the Citadel. I don't know. You're spinning right now. I honestly don't know if Carol is one person or two. So
It's Cuddle.
Cuddle.
Cattle.
Oh, is it Carol and Cuddle, or is it just Cuddle?
You just hear from the
I
other
can't
room.
remember.
It's Coddle.
I'm sorry, but your name's a little hard for me to pronounce right now. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just like like the name Adrian, but you say Adrian because it's hard to say. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm used to it by now with these people.
Or like
it's
when you
fine.
want a quesadilla, but you say like quesadilla. Like, it's just so Cuddle. Okay.
I basically make small talk with him until he seems to sober up a bit.
Okay, so we'll say an hour or so passes where you get small talk or whatever, and finally he kind of comes to the point where he can actually have legitimate conversation. We'll just kind of fast forward until you can spin that and make it useful. And so at this point in time, he's had some
he's
like
already
bacon and
spinning.
stuff like that. Hey, you know what I mean. And so he's already had like a bacon cheeseburger that you guys made with space meat. Don't ask, and whatnot. So you can start your conversation where he's like sobered up now. Enough.
Meanwhile, the Asari are off stealth melding.
Well, Zasari could make her way in at this point in time.
If
but
she's still outside, I'm still outside.
Yep, she's outside. She's watching. She's kind of found herself a nice little holdup where she's on in an area where it'd be really hard to spot her out, but nothing like the sniper spot from before, where it'd be hard to spot her out or whatever. But a good vantage point from where the ship is. However,
God.
because
I have a little holdout.
Cracked has a plan.
I'm just
hold on.
imagining this Asari sitting on a ledge, and we've
I'm
got
on the ledge
Andre sitting on a
above it.
ledge above
That's
it.
exactly
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of dogs barking, so Crack's actually after an hour of the Asari and Antari telling us that there was also an Asari telling us, he asks Oof, "Hey, what's your Asari's name? Let's fuck with her." No,
My Asari's name? What do you mean? He's a terrible liar.
He kind of just chuckles and says, "We got this already, dude. Don't worry. We saw you guys a while away. It's how He holds up the comms from what's his name, or points towards wherever it is.
Her name's Tilian Nilia. She
And-
usually goes by Nil.
Cracks just goes to the door because I assume they're different colors and they're wearing different colored armor. So he goes to the airlock and just shouts, "Hey, Tiliana, just come on in." It just goes.
We
back
have
inside.
coffee.
When he says that, when he kind of comes out and does that, she genuinely was surprised by it. So she was kind of watching. She has her gun looked out, but her gun out, whatever. But it's kind of rested down. She's watching whatever. When he says that, she's like freezes for a second, and then quickly grabs a grenade and puts it right by her in arm's reach, which is easy for her to get. And she lines up a shot, and she's staring down her pistol barrel at him, okay, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? What the hell's going on inside there? And you can see she's reaching for her where she would have her comm going, and she's starting to speak. And as she starts to speak, the Krogan in his helmet, he can hear it. You guys really can't. But Steve's walkie, which is literally on the table. Steve's walkie, which is literally on the table, goes, "There's a Krogan outside. He seems to know my name. What's going on in there? Are you being tortured?"
And you just hear Cracks laughing. It's "Haha, she's 100. That's gonna fuck with her forever. Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer."
Steve listens to that and he's like, "Just having some coffee. Everything's fine. You can come in. It's not a oh, what's the code? Hold on."
And just hear Cracks go, "Aw."
The eggs are safe underwater. The eggs are safe underwater.
You just see Cracks go to the door again. "The eggs are safe underwater." Just run back in.
And she kind of sits up and she's like, and she'll actually kind of
he's
climb
very
down
kind.
from her perch and make her way over to the airlock, to the front door, to let herself in. Do you still stay outside and quiet there?
I'll come in as soon as she closes the airlock. Then I no rush walk in.
Okay.
So
sure.
probably as soon as she gets into the common room, I'm closing the airlock and walking in. I'm making it kind of obvious that I was the person she was.
So when she walks in, she clearly there's a situation where
armor going back to normal and everything.
her gun is in her hand, but it's down by her side. You know what I mean? She's just kind of assessing the situation or whatever. She's quiet when she first walks in, looking at people, kind of judging them, doing kind of quick eye contact with the Krogan, kind of I'm giving you the eyes. Give me an update with your eyes. The Krogan kind of has a blank stare at her, and then she goes walking in to check out Steve to make sure Steve's okay. And you can clearly tell, cattle and whatnot, you can clearly tell that there's this expression on her face where she's curious if he's been poisoned, but it's just alcohol. And so she's like, "Oh, okay, I can see what this is." But then when the other Asari comes walking in, when Ansari comes walking in, she realizes how obvious it is, oh, the huntress is being hunted. And she kind of sees that, the Asari was walking in, she kind of looks over, sees her, and then realization comes across her, and she gets straight backed, and she's very uncomfortable. And even though she had just put her gun away, she clearly has a posture and everything, and repositions herself in the room discreetly to be able to corner herself off with cover and fight if she needs to. It's one of those God damn it. You clearly got me. You had outplayed me this entire time, and I'm not very happy about it. So
I don't think that would happen to us because Auntie Ray can read minds, and she points at Cracks.
Cracks is bringing coffee to everyone, by the way, except for the other Krogan, because it's probably not good for Krogan.
yeah.
So he offers the
Yeah,
Asari
coffee's
coffee.
not bad for Krogan. It's really gonna give him an upset tummy.
Well, no, I'm saying
We need someone who
they
can't have
probably
coffee.
don't like it. Probably tastes, bland.
Just, not
You know,
good
like
for
coffee.
Krogans.
So you're pushing the conversation forward, Cattle, to Steve, please.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not asking about anything in specific. I'm not trying to pry information out of him like I was back at Therum, because, well, trying to pry information out of him when there's a Krogan and an Asari hunter standing nearby seems like a bad idea.
But you do also have your own Krogan, Asari, Quarian, and Storian
Yeah, that's
around,
true.
so...
I would engage him in programming talk. Fuck
Sure.
it.
Sure. So you engaged in some programming speak or whatever, more or less, because Winnie had kind of filled you in on what was going on, and with the small talk or whatever that you guys did before, you could ask him about like the program he was trying to put together. And he's like, I remember the basics of what it was that I was doing, but I wasn't the only one on the project, and I didn't keep any copies. That's not the way that I go about doing things. I don't keep copies of stuff that I'm not supposed to. You don't cross the eclipse. It's just something you don't do. And he says that, like, looking poignantly at the Asari, making sure she knows that he's saying, I'm not crossing the eclipse.
So we're trying to get a hold of this guy, so we can give him information, but we can't really do that.
We were trying to contact Hinktar of the
Like I said, I didn't know the name, but I do know the ship that you're referring to. Like, I've never met him, but I know the ship, and I'm pretty sure I can get like a backdoor communication into the ship because I'm familiar with the system, at least well enough from working on it before. I don't think you're going to be able to broadcast from here, though. It's going to have to be a little bit shorter range for them to pick it up, because I've never had to worry about the ship at long range. Do you have any idea even where he is? Is he near Omega? Is he near the Citadel?
We have an idea of where to look for him here.
If you're even within the same system as he's in, then you should be fine. You don't have to know exactly where, not even the same planet, but just the same system. You should be able to get a message to him. I can put something together for you. That's fine.
Cool. We would appreciate that.
Okay, I can do that. I do have a question. Why does your pilot keep looking at me like that? And with that, she just kind of like makes a face and walks out of the room.
She
Oh, I
really
didn't even know
doesn't like
Trevor was
humans. I wouldn't try to take it too personally.
I don't think he would actually bring it up. Like, I imagine he as a human would be aware of the First Contact War and like the racism that goes on between Turians and humans. So it's just like
But
Turian.
He does bring it up because that was over a decade ago. That was 11 years ago.
Yeah. So I will say, like, that kind of doesn't like humans, and I would
She
try
holds
not
a
to take it
grudge.
too personally.
Yeah, don't take it personal.
I mean, most of us humans didn't take it very personal what happens. So, I don't know. Maybe she just needs to relax and meet a couple of nice humans.
Jeremy, this one's nice.
Fuck off!
She doesn't relax.
So he's like, so you guys kind of engage in conversation about how it is to go about doing that program, and honestly, with your expertise assisting him, you guys were able to build that program over the course of a better part of a day. The Krogan and the Asari that are with you guys eventually kind of realize they're not really needed here. Things seem to be perfectly fine. You're actually not double-crossing the Eclipse in any way whatsoever because of the fact that the person that you're referring to is no longer with the Eclipse. It has nothing to do with the Eclipse whatsoever, so they're not very concerned about it. However, they would be inquiring as to why it is you're interested in them. Is it something that you guys would want to give them more information? If so, who does? What do you tell them?
I would just tell them everything.
Tell Winnie to shut up. Nothing personal, Winnie, but you know.
Oh, well, you see, what happened was I originally went on this mission where everybody died, but... Wait,
Can it, Winnie? Not now.
ha! Called it!
I would tell them, like, basically, like, we've been looking for him for a while. We need to talk to him. And therefore, we figured that going through his Eclipse friends would be one of the best ways to get in contact with him. You know, not necessarily lying, but definitely not telling them everything.
Roll me a talk charisma check as you're trying to convince them of this, please, Rick. And let me throw that into chat so it can be seen. It's a good thing you were able to eliminate one of those. Oh, there weren't both ones. Cool. So with your 11, you have a conversation. You actually convince the Asari well enough that she's like, I know one of the pilots.
Oh, do you?
One of the fighters. He's an old friend.
I see. Well, we're not trying to hurt him, so...
Yeah, well, he's there for his own reasons, and if you promise not to hurt this old friend of mine, no matter what goes down, I'm willing to help you out a little.
That sounds like a promise we can make.
Don't listen to this, but, and she has like a data chip, but if you do come across a Taurian pilot, and she hands you the chip. If you do come across a Taurian pilot by the name of Trevis, just play this broadcast for him privately, and he will not bother you in the least bit. Won't help you, but he won't hurt you either.
Thank you.
Krax actually pipes up and says, "Wait, but if we have to broadcast it, that means while broadcasting it, we're going to have to listen to it. So aren't we breaking your first rule?"
Do you not know how
Just-
to turn your speakers off?
He just shakes his head.
Just send the
He's
file.
not in charge of communications.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
I handle the communications.
Okay. She's like, well, that's all I can offer to you. Just don't cross me. And she says, like, looking at all of you, but also casting an extra long linger at Entree, like, I don't know you, but I feel like I want to know you. You know what I mean? Because clearly you all played her. You know
They're
what I mean?
gonna meld.
And so she casts that like lingering look at Entree as she then makes her way off the shuttle, and she's like, "Oof, come on, he's fine. Let's go," and leaves.